Hello, Virgo. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Virgo is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button. Leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Virgo, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. We start with the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords, you're very, you're trying to be very, objective. You know, I think you're somebody that when there is some turbulence in your life, you have this very, very important ability to step back and take kind of, not so much to dissociate or detach, but to pull yourself out of the emotion for the time being and take a look at things from a more clear-headed sort of perspective, right? This is the card of the bird's eye view. Looking at things, seeing them for what they are. It's when you're in the middle of the turmoil, it's very difficult for you to see what's really going on. You know, when the waves are splashing up around you and your heart's racing and you're in the emotion, you're in the turbulence of your life, very difficult to understand or to make the right kind of choices. So we're kind of in that fight or flight sort of mode, you know. But when we can step back and we can look at things a little bit more calmly, a little bit more so-called objectively, right? It's still a subjective sort of vantage point, but it's one where we have we've calmed down from all the turbulence. We sort of activated the parasympathetic nervous system. We've calmed down a little bit, and we can bring ourselves out of that. And maybe this is through breath work, through meditation, through a kind of body scan or like a yoga nidra kind of thing. Or if this is just kind of going for a walk, some kind of physical activity or movement or something like this. And we can get a bird's eye view of what's going on. So I feel like you're learning how to do those kinds of things. You're focusing on that. And there might be a situation right now where you need to sort of take that step back, get this bird's eye view. Okay, let's put this card into a little bit of context. We've got a Princess of Swords. Okay. The Princess of Swords is trying to do their best in the middle of the issue. Okay, so we kind of have this very, very mature and very sort of skilled technique that we're going for, but then we just kind of have this princess that's just like, you know, right in the middle of it, and is not, you know, not necessarily, doesn't feel as if we're making all the right choices, right? So we have kind of this immaturity and the maturity coupled together, and it's kind of like we're a mixture of both, right? I feel like what the Princess of Swords is saying is that despite our attempt to get the objective viewpoint and to get that bird's eye view and to sort of, you know, to let go of the emotion, to get out of the turmoil so we can figure out what's really going on and be very honest about that, really we have to allow ourselves a lot of room for error, okay? And I think that's a very important part of our princess. But let's keep going. Let's put the rest of our cards down. 5 of Wands, 3 of Swords, 5 of Pentacles, but a 10 of Cups. Oh, look at that. So I feel like your life's about to change. Okay? I feel like there is a big shift. And this is the shift that you're in the middle of. You're looking at the shift, right? And you're trying to get this bird's eye view of what's going on here. It's not fun. These are not fun cards, I'll tell you. But through kind of, you know, taking a little bit of a leap, taking a little bit of a risk, making some decisions that we may not be 100% on, right? It's better to have a bad plan than no plan at all. Look what we're getting. We're getting out of all this, you know what, all the bovine excrement, right? And we're getting this beautiful 10 of Cups. Oh, this is nice. I feel like your life's about to get so much better. It could be that there is an air sign person that is causing some issue in your life right now. We have a 2 of Pentacles, the conscious choice being proactive here. We have a Knight of Pentacles looking at the future, Two of Swords, change, and the Seven of Cups, right? The Seven of Cups is very good in this position because the result of this is that you're seeing things for what they are. That's where we started with the Queen, remember? The Queen is trying to rise up and trying to look at the situation and see, do I want to stay here? Like, what's really going on? Is this good for me? I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting a chill here. Ooh, this is weird. Because I feel that, like, you're trying to detach from the fire, the heat of the situation. We have that here. And we're trying to get a little bit of that, maybe like a little bit of an icy detachment with this, you know, with the Queen of Swords, because this is somebody that's not going to be influenced by emotion. This is somebody that's not going to be triggered by the fire energy, by the aggravation, and by the, you know, the actions of another person. This is somebody that's not going to be moved and, let's say, emotionally manipulated. Okay? So I feel like we're trying to get this bird's eye view of the situation and see it for what it is. And this is you now seeing it for what it is. Because the Seven of Cups in every other tarot pack, most of them, the Seven of Cups masquerades as a beautiful card. It's treasure, it's love, it's all these beautiful things that someone is looking at and sort of wishing that this would be. It's almost like we're projecting this very, very beautiful image on something that is toxic and corrupted. Okay, so we're getting that bird's eye view and we're seeing this situation for the swamp that it is, rather than for the oasis or the paradise that it might be presenting itself as. Okay, I think there's an air sign person involved here. It might be an older male energy for you. Okay, let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. Just grab a random card and put big red ant right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together. And of course, I want to point out that the bottom card is going to be the Three of Swords. We know this is not going to be the Three of Swords again. Okay, but I'm pointing this out. I don't usually do this. I'm pointing it out because that's what's in the background here, and that's now at the bottom of the stack of cards. That means this is probably a big issue right here. Okay, we're going to talk about this, but now this is kind of buried underneath everything else. So we have to sort of uncover that. Okay, and what I mean by that is back here with this Three of Swords, because this is memory, this is history. This is us sort of plagiarizing a script from our past. Okay, in the way that we're sort of playing out the story now. So in other words, this might be a situation that you're in presently that is really bringing up a lot of old stuff for you. It's kind of like it's not even you really doing it. It's like your past is talking for you, you know? We're sort of reliving some kind of a story or some kind of a dynamic from our childhood, from our upbringing, from our history, okay? This is a card of memory. And this is a card, and I think between this and kind of seeing it at the bottom of the mystery stack, kind of tells us that, yeah, there's something going on now that is bringing out a lot of these complexes or a lot of these tendencies, a lot of these scripts and patterns from your past, okay? And so I feel like if we can let go of this, if we can recognize that this is really taking a big chunk of our energy and is really has this I don't know what to call it, complex, I guess. That this is really hijacking our interactions, right? And hijacking our relationship. Then maybe we can let this go. And maybe the big shift isn't so much you're just kind of looking at the swamp and you're saying, okay, I'm getting out of here. Okay, because what's the risk, right? That we say, oh, this is a swamp, I'm getting out of here. And then we find ourselves in another week, another month, or next year, we find ourselves in a swamp again. And we say, gosh, how the heck did I get here? Okay, because if we don't recognize something from our past that's still trying to live itself out, this is like a knot of karma or a button or a trigger that we've got to look at. It's going to keep happening. You know, we're not having a series of bad relationships. We're having one bad relationship over and over and over again with different people. Okay, and this could be a family dynamic. It could be it could be happening at work, at school. It could be a romantic partner, but doesn't have to be. Okay, this is playing out in some interpersonal dynamic for you. Okay. Anyway, if you have a prediction for the mystery card, put it in the comments. Right now, we don't have any major arcana cards, but that's very interesting too, because this is not something that is sort of I don't know. It's not something that's happening outside of you. This is something that's going on within. What I think it is we're kind of seeing like the inside of the star card here, because the star is that energy, that divine energy. The light comes in, shows us where our buttons are, shows us where our knots of karma are, our triggers, our sore spots, our weak spots, so that we can start to unravel those. And as we unravel those, our divine light is going to shine forth from us and is going to illuminate the yellow brick road that leads to the paradise, the real paradise, not the swamp that we seem to keep stepping in or falling into or stumbling upon a swamp. Here, another swamp. It's almost like we've been going in circles. This is the same swamp again, right? So I feel like this is where we are really we're really understanding kind of how our current dynamic is being influenced by this is a Saturn in Libra energy, right? The Three of Swords. It's a card called Sorrow. It's the Saturn in Libra energy to me feels like it's something that's limiting our ability to connect with people. Okay, something that may be shutting down a friendship, a romance, even a business relationship, shutting down a relationship before it ever even really gets started. Okay, it's almost like when we feel somebody getting too close, boom, we put up a wall. And we don't really know. It's a complex, right? It's something unconscious that kicks in. Complexes aren't bad. They're not good. They're rather neutral, right? Complex is a cluster of energy. It's almost a reaction kind of system in us, a response in a way, that is there to protect us. So it's kind of like we have a complex that tells us not to touch a hot stove. And when we get near a pot of boiling water, the complex kicks in and we know to be careful, right? And we back away, we turn the handle inside, but the complex is also something that we start to get connected with another person, the complex kicks in, and suddenly we're not returning their phone call anymore. Suddenly we avoid them. Or we do something that's going to make them not like us, and so that they kind of go away. It's this complex that kicks in order to protect us. Okay? I don't know why that happens. It's some kind of a script that we learned back in the day. When we were kids or young adults or something like this, and it was created. And it thinks that it's serving us very well. It thinks it's protecting us. And as long as we keep letting it kind of happen and we don't change that, it's kind of like we're saying, it's like a dog. We're petting the dog and we're saying, good boy or good girl, right? The dog did what it was supposed to do, and we're reinforcing the behavior rather than saying, okay, I need to recognize when this is happening, and I need to at least call myself out sometimes and say, okay, this is me doing this. I can't stop it in the moment, right? It's an unconscious complex. It's going to happen, and then I can maybe catch it halfway through or towards the tail end, but we can't always stop it from happening. But we can try to catch it halfway through or towards the end and say, okay, I recognize this is going on and I need to do something different this time. Okay. So we don't have any majors because I feel like Spirit is, Spirit is all of this stuff. Spirit is permeating all of this. This is the divine light. This is the inside of us lit up now by that divine energy. Okay? And I think Spirit is kind of talking about you initiating a big shift in you. Your life is about to change, and I feel that we have to be responsible for those changes, especially with the Two of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. These are cards of change, but it's not the same change as the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is saying things are happening outside of your control for your benefit, and hallelujah, this is good, right? This is change. This is a big shift in your life that's happening because of your efforts, your recognition, and you choosing to do something different this time rather than the same way, the same responses, the same interpersonal reactions. Okay? We've got fire, we've got water, we've got air, and earth. Okay? So right now it is kind of it's sort of a, it's how we are relating to other people in our lives, or even, I mean, I guess it could be how we're relating to the events of our life, maybe. But I feel like there's another person here involved. I feel like maybe it's an older male energy. But I feel that this is about how we're relating to the world around us, other people, etc., and how we're sort of feeling about it. Okay? What we want is satisfaction. We want the 10 of Cups. We want to feel good. We want to have a full life. We want to be fulfilled. We want to have all the sort of rewards that life has to offer. We want to live a good life. We want the paradise. I want to be at the oasis, not the swamp. I want to be at the oasis, right? You know, because this is what we're after, it sort of confuses us a little bit. We're trying to get that bird's eye view and really figure out, like, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep feeling this way? Am I sabotaging myself from getting this fulfillment? Right? Or do I kind of feel like in order for me to get this 10 of Cups, I have to somehow like be worthy of it, or I have to I have to earn it in some way? Right? We do have the 5 of Pentacles up top here, which is this card of worry in the physical realm. Right? To me, this feels like kind of feels like I'm not doing enough. I'm not producing enough, and therefore I'm not going to be loved by other people. So it's sort of, we're equating our value and our worth with our work. You know, it's like the boss only likes you when you're making money for them, you know. And maybe that's fine in business. I don't believe in that necessarily, but in relationships, in family things, this has to be sort of unconditional love, you know. Because and maybe we're going back to our childhood now. When we're kids, we're going to F up a lot. Kids make a lot of mistakes, right? Kids are learning. They don't know what they're doing yet. They're learning. They're figuring out life. And this might be that immature sort of energy. It could be that this complex for you is related to the older male energy in your life, maybe a father figure, a grandfather, something like that. But the way it's playing out in your life now might be with a younger female. Okay, so let's understand that it could be of different dynamics here. Because this is now saying that even though a lot of mistakes are being made, that shouldn't detract from how much love there is. So the 10 of Cups becomes that like contentment, it becomes bliss, and it becomes unconditional love, regardless of what's going on outside. Regardless of where, hey, you know what? I got some bills this month that are kind of, I'm not making a lot of money right now. That's okay. I still have value. I still have love. I'm still content with life. Nothing's ever going to be perfect in life. There will always be bills. There will always be worries. There will always be things that aren't right. There will always be mistakes. There will always be problems that we need to focus on, and how maybe I can do better. I can work harder. I can, maybe I got debt. Maybe there's, I'm not, I didn't do so well on the test at school or something like this, or I'm not where I want to be in my physical health goals or something like this. But that doesn't take away from the 10 of Cups. It doesn't take away from our love. Okay? So I feel like there used to be this dynamic where if you didn't produce enough, you weren't really given the praise or the love that you needed. Do you know what I'm saying? And so if that is playing out in our childhood script, it could be a script that we're sort of playing with now, and it's kind of narrating our life at the moment. Okay? What we're trying to do is rewrite the script a little bit. The 5 of Wands underneath the surface here is a little bit of anger or frustration. Okay? And I think this is the emotion that we're trying to rise out of. We're trying not to be frustrated or angry. And it's kind of like maybe we're trying to look at the 5 of Pentacles objectively and say, okay, well, this is a mistake. Maybe somebody else made a mistake. Maybe this is you making the mistake. Maybe this is something in your life that is not perfect. Something's out of harmony, and that's okay, because you know what? Life is all about bringing something back into a state of harmony. We're finding distress, and we're bringing ourselves back to unity and love and harmony and resonance. And then we're going to be out in distress again, and we're going to bring it back again. That's what life. That's what life is. It's like the fundamental meditation is the fundamental life. Things are not always going to be a perfect 6. Things are very often going to be a 5 or a 7. And it's our job to sort of just bring it back to a 6, bring things back to the harmony as quickly as we can. And then when they fall out of harmony again, we don't want to react over the top. We don't want to explode, right? We don't want to feel like we are dysregulated when we're in this 5 of Pentacles kind of disharmony. Something's not going quite right in life. Didn't have a very good day at work. I wasn't productive. The bills or my earnings or whatever it was, like something wasn't all that great, right? I don't want to become dysregulated by that. Let's say your kids do something, make a mistake, they color on the walls or something, or they break something. We want to make sure that we sort of find our harmony as quickly as we can. Okay, you have 2 5s here, right? Because what they do is they feed into each other. This mistake, whatever it was, or this worry, or this concern, or this disharmony, creates a disharmony in you, and of course you then exacerbate this, and this gets way worse. Okay, what we're trying to do now is find a different way to write that script. Trying to find a different way to do that. So I feel like you are trying to rise up out of this 5 of Wands and get a more clear perspective on what is happening in your life, and you're aiming for a life that has more joy, more bliss, more love, more contentment, more peace, even when things are bad, even when things are breaking or things fall apart or the car gets a flat tire. We're trying not to react too harshly. It's okay to react. It's okay to feel frustrated and angry, but how quickly does this 5 then get back to a 6? The earth energy, remember, takes a lot longer to harmonize than the fire, the water, and the air. You see? So this is not going to return to a state of perfect harmony very quickly. We have to return to a state of harmony very quickly, even if this situation is still slow to improve. Okay? Because otherwise it stays dysfunctional and it gets worse and worse and worse. We can't expect this to be perfect, and then I'll calm down once you stop making the mistake. No, it's like I'll calm down, and that's going to help you to stop making the mistake, right? I kind of think of like a dynamic with a child, The kid keeps, making mistakes or misbehaving or whatever you want to call it, and that agitates us. Well, we can't say, okay, I'll calm down and I'll stop being agitated once you stop doing what you're doing and once you start listening or once you stop misbehaving, okay? Because that's going to spiral. So what we do is we have to regulate ourselves first, and this situation will improve on its own. But it's the earth energy, right? It's much slower. And so we get impatient and all this kind of stuff, right? So the big shift that's happening, I think, is that we're learning to sort of, stabilize ourselves a little bit sooner. And we're making a decision now that is going to help us experience a lot more love and be part of this. To me, this feels like a kind of a dream come true, like a perfect family kind of thing. Because to me, this is all about the interrelationships, all about the dynamic. This could be a work thing. It could be literally about family. It could be between you and a partner, you and your parents, you and your kids, you and your friends. It could be, all sorts of things, right? It could be your coworkers or your business, the job you have, the business that you run, your volunteer work. It could be anything. This is the feeling that everybody is connected and everybody is sort of loved for who they are and not what they can do or not do. Right, or what they have done or have not done. Okay, so we're shifting into this much more supportive, and this feels like a really strong family dynamic. Okay, that allows for the 5s. The 5s are in here. It's a 10, right? It's got the 5 in there. It's got the ace. It's got the 6 in there too. It's got the 7. It's got the 3. All the numbers are in here. Okay, so we're allowing for everything in life. We're allowing for the ups and the downs, and they're not going to completely knock us out of commission. Okay? And that we maybe realize that even when our life is in a 5 and a 5 and a 3 and a 7, there's still this supportive network of love around us. Yeah, and that feels really, really good. Now let's talk about the path of the serpent. We start with the Two of Pentacles. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. The readings are totally free. The Two of Pentacles is this intentional choice. It's the change. It's kind of saying like, I'm willing to do something different next time. As difficult as it might be, as hard as it might be to get out of this feeling, I'm going to try. And whether this is I'm going to do some breathing exercises, I'm going to walk away. I need to know what tools I have in my toolbox so I can be proactive. And when I start feeling agitated, I know what I can try to do. I can walk away, I can deep breathe, I can meditate, I can go for a walk. I can call a friend, phone a family member or something. There are ways that we can be proactive. Yeah. And it's, if we're not willing to do anything different, nothing is going to change. Well, nothing's going to change in a good way, right? That things will continue to be fives, and they will never get to be the six. We will never be able to bring things to that harmony because we're not willing to do anything different. But you have the Two of Pentacles here in your general energy, so you have tools in your toolbox that you can use. When we start to approach the turmoil of life, we know the things that we can do in order to handle that type of weather. This is about you having a weather map. You have a map. You have the weather forecast. So it's like, you look on your phone, you say, oh, it's going to be thunderstorms and rain and all this stuff, big, storm tomorrow. So you kind of know, like, I'm going to bring my umbrella, and I'm going to maybe bring a raincoat. And if it rains, then I'm going to get wet at first, but then I'll pop open the umbrella, put the raincoat on, I'll be okay. All right. Maybe it'll be a sunny day. We won't need the umbrella and the raincoat. That's okay. They're small. They don't take up very much room in the car. It's better to be prepared and not need it than to need it and not be prepared. Okay? And the Two of Pentacles is your willingness to sort of be proactive in that way and say, I'm going to bring my umbrella just in case. Probably will be a nice day, but you never know. It's like me when I go outside to the lake or to the beach or just generally outside, I feel like I might want to bring a hat, because if I burn easy, right? And I don't want to be out in the sun. I got this, my skins are sensitive and things. And, I feel like maybe I'm going to bring a hat. I don't know if I'm going to spend a lot of time outside, but maybe I'll just bring a hat just in case I need it. I can put it on. It's like you might want to bring a light jacket, even if it's a warm, sunny day. Well, what if the breeze kicks in, I get a little chilly? I might want a jacket. It's simple. And it may seem silly, but when we're in these agitated emotional states, it's nice to remember that, okay, I know this deep breathing technique that I can do, and even if it's only like just taking a couple of really deep breaths, or the slow exhale breath is really the important one. You can breathe in nice and deep, and then let it out very slowly and calmly, and that's going to kind of activate the parasympathetic nervous system. It's going to calm us down a little bit. It's going to bring us a little bit back into balance, right? And so, we could also look at it as a bit of a seesaw between a 5 and a 7. What we want is the 6. What we want is the perfect balance between like alertness and we want like the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems to be in balance. We want to be awake and alert, and we want to be focused, and we want to be like in our energy, but we also want to be calm and relaxed and stable and feeling good, right? We don't want to be too far into the parasympathetic, because then we get into the 7 of Cups where it's just like I'm lethargic, I'm just eating everything in sight, and I have no motivation to even stand up. And then we don't want to be so far in the other direction where we're in the 5s, and the 5s is just fight or flight all the time. And so, it could be that you find yourself going from one extreme to the other, and maybe the 10 of Cups is like asking, like, what emotion do you want to feel more often in your life? Because this is what we're going to start working toward. I want to feel more contentment and bliss. I still want to feel motivated. I want to feel ambitious. I want to feel energized, but I want to feel good. I want to feel content. I want to feel like I can handle the difficulties. I want to feel like I can bring myself back to a balanced, harmonious 6. When things start to get a little out of whack, right? Got to bring them back in whack. Yeah. Now, where do you have a lot of stairs in your life? Spirit's showing me a lot of staircases, and I don't know. I don't know if this is maybe like a meditation that you do. I don't think they're real stairs, but I feel as if we're slowly walking up these stairs, and maybe it's the idea then we can kind of walk back down the stairs. Maybe that's like a meditation that you do or something, right? But observe your breath. Okay, the breath is the quickest way for us to start to regulate our internal state. Is through the breath. Now, in your relationships, you have the Knight of Pentacles. We're seeing a different future here. Okay, we're having a vision. This is you having a vision of your life in terms of the relationships you have with other people. So if you are in a situation now where you're looking at it and you're feeling, okay, this is a swamp and I want to get out of here, you're having to sort of look at the long term. If, let's say it's between you and another person, look at the long term. Where do you see this relationship going? Okay, if we have these proactive tools in our toolbox and we kind of know the life we want, how do we sort of judge, or how do we envision our life going? What is the future that you see for yourself in terms of this particular person or with just people in general? Because what we want to do is we want to be able to have the vision of the future. And let's say you're having a vision, you say, I know I want to have a 10 of Cups future. Okay, let's reverse engineer it. How do we do that? How do we get what we want? What's more likely to get you the future that you want here? What decisions do you need to make, the Two of Swords? What decisions do you need to make right here and now that will get you the future that you want? And the Knight of Pentacles is looking at the future and thinking, okay, how do I get that? So we're kind of saying, okay, who am I, where am I, and what am I doing down the road? And once I have that vision, I'll be able to reverse engineer it and start taking steps in that direction. So we're taking like a conscious and very powerful accountability for the direction our life is taking now. We see our life getting worse, well, then we better make some changes so we can start to see it getting better. The Knight of Pentacles reminds us that every thought, word, and deed in the present moment is creating our future life. It's all karma. Okay? And so we have to understand that we need to acknowledge this past karma, or this seed of karma that's now kind of, offering its rewards here in our present life, so we can perhaps start to unravel this. Then let's also start to understand how every behavior, every thought, word, and deed in the present moment is planting more seeds of karma for later, that are going to bear fruit later. And that should scare us a little bit, and to sort of, I want to make sure I'm planting good seeds for good karma, so later those fruits will be good, tasty fruit, yummy fruit, and not rotten fruit. Okay? And that leads us to our Two of Swords, which is really just kind of choosing something different, choosing to make a different decision now. Yeah. Choosing to perhaps react in a different way, or choosing when we're in this heightened state of a Five of Wands, we can, do something else that's going to help us. Okay, something that's going to bring us more harmony, and not less. Okay, but I think really the first step here is to recognize that the karma that's bearing fruit right now it's not tasty, it's not yummy fruit. Okay. Because this again is kind of like something was masquerading as the oasis, but it's really a swamp. So it might be that you're getting this bird's eye view of your life right now and thinking, it's not going the way I want it to go. I've got to make some changes. This big shift, right? We're choosing, and whether this means that we're getting out of the relationship, or that we got to go take some time off to ourselves, or maybe this means that like I've got to do better about bringing out these tools, bringing out the raincoat when I need it. Whatever it is, we realize that this is not the life we want, and we want to bring things back into a closer harmony. Okay? And the first step is just to acknowledge what we see, to be so-called objective over it, so that we can admit and we can be honest about the state of things. Get that bird's eye view, and what does it look like? Okay, it looks like a swamp right now. How do we clean it up? How do we bring it back to being how do we make it less toxic, right? How do we heal this dynamic, etc.? Let's look at the mystery card. Obviously, I want a 6, right, or an Empress. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments down below. We've got the Sun. Okay, the Sun is clarity. The Sun is our willingness to look. The Sun is, well, really, it's the result of the Star card, right? Because what is the Sun? That's a star, right? It's ours. It's our star. It's the star inside of you. So to me, this feels like you have let that light in. You're willing to look at what's going on, right? Clearly, and you're willing to see it and start to untie those knots of karma. Look at the buttons, the triggers, the sore spots, the weak spots, right? The blockages. And once we start doing that, then we see our light radiating out from us. Like I said, this feels like this is the inside of the star energy, or like the first phase of the star card. And now the second phase of the star card is when this light starts to radiate out from you. And you're a source of joy and love and beauty in the world, and your life is growing from your energy that you're putting into it, your warmth. And that light starts to show us our yellow brick road. Shows us where we should and should not travel. Okay? So I feel like this is a very strong confirmation. This is a card of clarity. It's saying that we're looking at things that we don't always want to see. But it's going to help us get the life we want and travel the path we want to travel and get the future that we want to exist in. Okay? The future state of ourselves, our relationships, and our life as a whole. Okay. Anyway, we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, we're going to do an I Ching hexagram. We're going to do some oracle cards. There's a link in the corner. There's a link in the video description. New readings for Virgo on Tuesday and Saturday. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. These readings are totally free. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we're all in this together.